final team interview for the day, and here we have Sweet Tooth Studios. Do you want to quickly introduce who you are and what you've done for your game?
So I'm Blake. I'm one of the programmers.
I'm Ben. I'm one of the designers.
I'm Emmeline, and I'm one of the character artists.
Okay, that's great. And so we can see it here in front of us. But what? Give me a sort of few sentences, elevator pitch. What is your game?
So you're a marine photographer trapped in an eerie environment in the ocean, and not all is as it seems.
All right. Okay. Is that like should we just find out for ourselves what that means?
Sort of. It starts off just photographing creatures, but as things start to go a bit wrong, your objectives change, and you have to explore the environment a bit more.
And I guess yeah, as we can see it being played here, we'll go a bit into what was your sort of first ideas and the first sort of concepts for this game?
The first thing I remember was we had like a game jam at the start of the year with some criteria that we had to fit to get the game kind of off the ground and get an initial idea sorted. And I remember we came up with a few ideas, and everybody immediately, as soon as someone suggested underwater, everyone was just like, "Yes, let's do that." What do you think?
That was for the theme of Dream Job,
Yeah,
which
yeah, it was for
obviously
like,
has shifted a bit.
yeah, it's not quite a dream anymore.
I think that's quite an interesting thing that I've noticed over literally the previous game we had here and a lot of the other games. Maybe it's something to do with the location, but a lot of them seem to love this sort of marine aspect. I don't know, is that like something
Yeah.
that one of you guys like really loves, or how did that?
Um, well, I've been doing quite a lot of like snorkeling, and my girlfriend does marine photography at the uni. So yeah, it's something that we've had access to like some of the photos that she's taken and some of the equipment to get references for like what things should look like, and some like expertise knowledge from behind it, I guess.
So
But yeah, there are a lot of games based around fish this year, which is quite
that's right. Yeah,
interesting.
literally the one just before this we had
Yeah.
the fish collecting simulator. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me run me through. What am I looking at here? What are we going through?
So this is basically your bunker. So you're sent down here to take these photos as like part of your new job, and this is kind of what you're greeted to. It's not the like most state-of-the-art bunker. You can tell like price has been cut in little places. You're living off like baked beans. Your mask is from like the 1950s or something, despite the fact you have a digital camera. There's coffee stains everywhere. The posters are all ripped up and been scribbled on by people who were there before. Um, yeah, this is just kind of where you're living.
Yeah, I guess it all sort of builds into that world of old underwater mystery sort of thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
So this is kind of the this is the like tutorial area. So we get people used to using the camera and taking photos of the creatures in the area. So this is kind of like doing your routine job as your marine photographer role. So you've been assigned to get photos of crabs and anchovies, and yeah, this is just kind of like getting used to the camera and how to swim around and navigate and things. The sort of game you'll be playing.
And so what was the sort of selection process? Because I see we have some crabs here and some other wildlife. What was the how did you decide which creatures you'd have in the game?
Hmm. That might be more of an art thing, 'cause the artists were in charge of choosing which creatures to make.
Um, we sort of just based like went on creatures that you sort of find in certain levels of the ocean. So like for the tutorial, we sort of went for like more like surface level creatures, so like crabs, anchovies, and then sort of as the game progresses, the creatures get more like deeper down. So you start finding more like ones that you might find in like the Mariana Trench and stuff like that. Yeah.
I suppose as well, yeah. The if you're going for that sort of like uneasy, unsettling sort of vibe, the deep ocean really lends itself to that. And, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that which idea sort of came first then?
Well, initially we didn't have any story or anything, so the story definitely came after. We started off literally just wanting to make something underwater. And I think so for our game jam at the very start of the year, we did just literally make a game where you go out, you get these pictures that you've been assigned to get, and then you come back, you upload them, and then you get a few more and go back out, and that was the whole loop. So that's kind of where we started for with this, and then we built a story on top of that. and kind of built out an environment. And it started off really like idyllic in like a bright blue ocean with like very fluorescent seaweed and everything, and we kind of made it a bit more murky and dull and scary and just kind of fit the environment with your base and everything and kind of what happens through the game.
Objective completed. Return to base to upload.
Oh, so you have a little bit of voice acting in there as well. Nice.
Yeah, for that we used the old 90s Microsoft Sam voice, which one of our other designers found and thought would be a good fit considering the computer that we have in the game and the sort of old aesthetic that we're going for.
Yeah, it all just adds to like building the era of classic, definitely.
Is the first moment where things start to go wrong as what looks like a sea monster breaks the cable
It appears
and
the
you're let out.
communications device is damaged. Photograph of device is required to assess damages. Find and photograph the damaged communications device.
So this is all sort of happen often, so now
Store
you have to
discarded files.
go around, fix the
Remember to clear
damages.
it often.
Yeah,
Is that like
exactly.
sort of, it breaks away from photographing the fish and then having to go back into this other thing?
So to keep the photographing mechanic somewhat relevant, the first thing you have to do is go and take a photo of the damage so that the computer assistant can assess how bad it is and how to fix it. But as you're going, you can see lots of sea creatures and maybe some eerie things along the way.
Yeah, definitely the hardest part about this game, from my perspective anyway, is we had this photo mechanic, and we had this from the start. And then we, most of the team, we really wanted to make something like creepy, so like akin to a horror game. We didn't. I don't think we quite reached horror. We're more of like a comedy horror game. But yeah, it was trying to keep the photo mechanics relevant with a horror game and a story game. We had to fit it in somehow. It was definitely the biggest challenge, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess keeping on that theme, what for you guys were some of the hardest things to work on?
I think another thing was guiding players to the right place, because as we design it, we know where we want to go and how to get there, but communicating that to the player is often quite a challenge. So we ended up adding in lots of like glowing arrows or particle effects to guide the player to the right way, or this cable in this section where you can just follow it straight to where you need to go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as you don't have big yellow arrow of
Yeah.
pain, that's
Also, balance between the horror and the photography elements was quite difficult because we want players to experience like the horror elements, but then we also have this photography mechanic that's also in the game, and so we also want players to use it and not just disregard it as something obsolete. So balancing that was quite a tough job. Well,
I guess on the opposite side of that,
Objective
what would you say is more
Return to base
the more
for
fun or
digital
maybe your
photo
favorite thing
analysis.
to work on in the game?
Right as we started, I got the fish working and just like the buoys swimming around and everything. It was really satisfying to get going. And the same with the seaweed, the way it just repelled, like it works like a magnet. Like if you have an opposite pole, and it just like separates around out like away from you. And it was just really satisfying to see it work. Because originally the game was third person, so you could see it all move away and around your character and react to you. But yeah, we had to scrap that and go for just first person, and it's still really fun to do, and it worked first try, so it's definitely my favorite bit.
Analyzing. Photo analysis complete.
What
Conclusion.
about you guys? Any
Flathead
sort of favorite
screwdriver needed to
favorite
repair
parts to work on?
communications
I just
device.
really like working on
Scanning
the
for flathead
creatures
screwdriver.
because it's
No
just like
results
which ones
inside
do I want
base.
to add now?
Scanning expanded radius. Screwdriver located in game.
I suppose
Coordinates
so yeah,
for
when you're
flathead
making those creatures,
screwdriver have
it's
been uploaded to your sonar.
sort of like plug and play.
Find
You,
the
you make a
flathead
creature, put it
screwdriver
in, make a creature,
indicated
plug it in.
using your sonar.
It's also a case of like where would it be found in the environment, because some of them we can have this one in the sort of tutorial area, and then some of them we can find further out, and then some you can find even further out. Um,
I imagine it can be like quite a balance to be like, okay, I really want to add this creature, but where does it fit in that thing?
yeah,
I guess when you were doing that, were you thinking more, I have this area, what creatures should I put in it? Or was it more, I have these creatures, what area should they be?
it was more like what we have these areas. What can we fill them with to make them seem more like alive and explorable? Like over here.
Yeah, there are some eels tucked into the sand, and sometimes they get like scared of you, sometimes they'll
Left a
attack
bit.
you.
There
There
he
he
is.
is.
There's
There's
one.
a little moray eel that you can find, and he hides from you. Or if you annoy him too much, he will push you back. But mostly he's quite shy.
You've got to keep pestering him.
Is there like a health
Aw.
system in it, or is it just
No, there is an oxygen mechanic to kind of just like set the speed of the game and kind of some urgency in areas when we need it. But there's no real way to die in this game, so it's quite chill to
so
play.
you
I
can just
think.
annoy eels all day?
Yeah, if you want
Wow.
to.
Pretty much. The oxygen is more of a tension building mechanic, but since players don't know that they can't die, it works quite well whenever people.
Not like everyone here and everyone watching now knows that.
That's one of the few jump scares that we have in our game. I think it works quite well as a set piece like that.
What is that? What?
What was what?
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see anything.
This area is probably one of the hardest to design because it was just a big empty space, and we wanted to give people that fear, that like agoraphobia, of like a lot of people describe it as that shot in Finding Nemo, where you just see the big empty space and the tiny boat, and yeah, just that feeling of emptiness and open space where you don't know what could be beyond, and you're kind of lost for direction. But then balancing that with also telling people where to go next was a tricky bit.
Oxygen level below 50%.
Yeah, I guess sort of you've built all these sort of spaces. How does the player sort of navigate between them? Is it more open world, or is it more focused, like go here, then here, then here, or how does that?
I think the way we split it up was quite like modular. So you have this starting area, and then you'll get introduced to the next area, which is like following the cable round to get to the communications device. And so you've got this starting area which you're already familiar with, and then you follow this cable which gets you familiar with like kind of going round the outside of the level. And then there's a shortcut that opens up between the
The gate
starting
should be
area
surrounded
and
by
the
pilot
communications
detention points.
device. So you've kind of built up slowly through the progression of the story your navigation through the level. And there's also the sonar device, which you can use to check where the objectives are or the relevant things, so you can see which direction you're going in if you ever do get lost.
Easter egg to our previous game that we made.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's further along to the
So
left.
yeah, okay, so you guys as a studio have existed for a while, and you've been making other stuff, other projects.
Yeah, we did. We stuck pretty much the same team as last year. We've got one more programmer, one more designer, and a concept artist.
Oh, it's
That's everyone, right? It's
And
different.
another artist,
We
3D
got
artist.
another artist as well.
And we
So
lost an artist and an animator.
yeah, so we had no animator for this one, so all the fish and everything, all the animations are done through shaders, which made the game, especially with having like as many fish as we do and all the seaweed and everything. If we did that with animations and bones and everything, I don't think this game would perform very well. So shaders were a big part of getting all the animations to work too.
I guess are there any other sort of like challenges like that where maybe you've had to pick up a different discipline, or take skills outside of your comfort zone?
I had to become a sound designer for
Oh
a little
yeah.
while, because obviously as it is a horror game, a lot of the like atmosphere and tension is based on like the sounds that the player will hear. So getting that like sorted pretty much right away was a very like critical sort of element there, and I sort of took on that role. While my specialism is character art, but it was quite fun to work on, especially like the sort of ambient tracks that you hear like around you, like in the trenches you hear like sort of creatures off in the distance, and in like the sort of tutorial areas you hear like the sounds of orcas and whales like away from you.
hmm As we got towards the end of the project, you took on more of the promotional art. So we got my brother in, who's studying music tech at another university, and then he took on a lot of the audio design from there, which helped a lot too.
Yeah, we didn't have an environment artist at all for this, so we had two of our artists who were supposed to be doing character art were making all the props for the base, all the rocks, all the seaweed, everything. So we're really grateful for that because it's not a job they wanted to do particularly, but they definitely did a very good job with it.
Hmm.
I guess yeah, that's something like if you have a good team, especially you guys must have if you stuck around for so long,
Yeah.
that you're all just willing to get the work in, and it's all for the greater good of this game. Yeah. And so I guess yeah, now that you're all on the other side, how are you all feeling to finally have it now and show it off to the world?
I'm really pleased with how it's all come together, personally. And also our booth at Expo, we all pitched in to do props. We've got these photos and everything. So just seeing that all together is really proud.
Mm.
And I think if you've stuck together as a team, how do you think that sort of impacted you as opposed to other studios that may not have?
Well,
Hold the interact
it's
button to
just
use
quite,
select
it's just
device.
nice because you know kind of what people are good at and what people can do. So if I need help with programming, I know Ben's quite capable at programming, so he's been doing a lot of the tutorial and things, which saves me time, so I can focus on like getting the fish to work properly or getting the photo mechanic and the detection system to work properly and stuff like that. So it just means I've got a lot less on my plate, and we've had this whole computer in the base as well,
Yeah.
so you can see all your photos you've taken, your objectives, your
You can
like
adjust sonar
communication
focus
with the
before
company that
taking a
you work
photo.
for. And I had no part of that. So that was all one of our other programmers, and Ben and designer helped out with that. So it definitely like splits the workload out a lot better, and you know what everyone's good at doing.
Yeah, I imagine as well. You've already done all that last year, so it just skips the heavy work of saying, okay, what can you do? What skills do you
Yeah.
have? How do we fit you in? Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can just jump straight in and get to what you love doing, I guess. Yeah. And so were there any sort of like ideas or concepts that maybe didn't quite make it that you would have liked to add?
Mm. Well, I think one of our early ideas was to have it split into different depth levels, where after each section, your base would get transported lower down, and that's why you'd get these deeper sea creatures. But scope wise, we figured it would just be best to have it all in one environment that just opens up gradually.
Mm.
That's one thing.
What about you guys? Is there anything you were maybe working on that got cut or?
Um, I remember when we first started, it was third person, and you would go into first person just for the photography and for the base. And I really did enjoy exploring everything in third person, and I spent ages working on a third person controller that is just never put in the game, and it's just sitting on my computer. But I'm still quite proud of the work I did for it, but it's not to be seen on here.
Our side, it was mainly just like more creatures that we could have potentially added, but they just didn't make it in because of time, or we had other more important stuff to work on.
I mean, do you think you guys maybe are going to in future keep working on this and adding new features?
To be honest, I think we have floated around the idea, especially at Expo, getting lots of great feedback. I think it would be difficult because our game, at least the story, is kind of nice and contained, and it has like a cyclical nature. It might be tricky to develop that further, but we could add more things to the photo mode, and yeah, yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I suppose you could also go into more of that. You can add more creatures, more different fish, and go more into the photography mode. You can maybe even have like a collector mode where all the
Yeah,
creatures are gone. It's just run around and take pictures of fish.
that's true.
And yeah, I guess for you guys as a studio and as a team, are you sort of going to continue? Not even this game, but just in general, you're going to continue working together and
I hope so.
Yeah, I'd like to as well.
We do have our last year's game that is on Steam as a demo, and we have kind of been waiting for this university year to finish so we all have time to work on it again because we've got to put like achievements in it and things like that. But we're definitely looking forward to getting that out.
I mean, I
Yeah,
know we're here to talk about this game, but what's the other game you have?
Do you want to go for it?
yeah, Sugar Siege, which we made last year. I don't know how much we should talk about that, considering this is about this game.
It's a game you made. It's on Steam if people want to check it out.
Okay, yeah. So, Sugar Siege, a candy-themed tower defense shooter. Demo available now on Steam and on itch.io.
Wishlist it now.
Right, okay, yeah.
Oh.
And obviously this game is also on itch.io. Are they
Yes.
are they both under the same studio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So is this one of your much more deeper areas? This is when it starts getting a bit more.
I think you've just run out of oxygen.
Yeah. So you just need to get back to the base.
Is it just returning to the base every time for oxygen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the main story, when you get to like the cave at the end, you start like running out of oxygen, and there's an oxygen tank to pick up. But during photo, it's just you gotta head back to the base.
Yeah. It probably shouldn't be a feature in the photo mode, but it was a bit of a last minute
Yeah.
addition.
We had a lot of people going, I just want to take photos of creatures, so we went, well, here's your chance.
Yeah. I guess it is good that it gets people to return to the base where they can see all the pictures
Welcome to
and
DSI Incorporated.
appreciate the
I'm
environment.
Spencer, your PC assistant. Click an icon to see what it does.
And,
The journal displays objective creatures.
so I
Take
guess
photos
now
to
that
update the entries.
now that we're here on the other side, if you were to wrap up the entire project in maybe just a few words of how all the highs and lows, how are you feeling? What would they be?
I've already said I'm pretty proud of it, so I guess I'd use those words again.
Yeah, I'm quite glad that with what we actually got into it, because we set out to make an underwater game and we did, and I'm quite happy with what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty proud of it as well.
just overall proud.
Yeah.
That's the general vibe for everything. That's great.
Yeah.
When you're in the base and what photos you've taken, it updates this journal, so you can view like facts about them and stuff like that. More incentive to return to the base.
So
as
are
well.
these like actual
gallery
accurate facts
displays
about all the
all
different
photos.
fish?
Yeah, most of them. A couple of them are made up fish that we just designed for the game,
Yeah.
but they have also their own interesting lore that one of our programmers made up.
So is there anything here that we haven't seen that you'd like to go into?
Have you
Those-
interacted with the doll at the base?
I've not.
So there's this bit in the story where you have to repair your communications device after it gets broken, and you take a picture of the broken device and you bring it back, and the snail is your PC assistant and kind
Remember
of
to
guides you through the
complete your
game.
tasks
And he
daily,
basically
or
tells
your
you that to
salary
fix the
will be cut.
device you need a flathead screwdriver, and the screwdriver in the base is not a flathead
It's
screwdriver.
just a
it's
regular
Phillips head.
screwdriver.
So
People
It's
always
just a
check it.
regular
yeah,
screwdriver.
basically the whole reason for your demise is that you went out to get a screwdriver.
First we capture, then we descend. Let's
Also,
capture
Spencer just
descent.
says like a list of
Ha ha ha, that tickles.
also loud.
I'm Spencer, your PC assistant.
There's
Yeah,
just something
this was
else
like
about
a
The
fun
gallery
extra
displays
feature
all
we added
photos.
where Spencer just has a bunch of extra lines you can say.
They got attached to this little guy.
Mhm.
So you're sort of like do you have you said you had props? Do you have a prop of Spencer?
We do actually.
Oh, I'll have
We
to
have,
check.
we have two.
Oh,
3D model printed.
Yeah, that's one of our other artists who took care of that.
Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. But
Oh, yeah,
I think unless there's anything else you guys want to add.
yeah. I think that's a pretty good overview of our game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. So you can check that out on the itch.io page and on all the other games, the Games Academy Expo 25 collection. But otherwise, thank you guys for joining me. Obviously, go check them out at Expo and their booth as well. Anyone that's here. But thank you guys for joining me, and thanks for tuning in. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Hmm.